So moving on to the, quiet on the set. And action.
Well, we're throwing a wrench in this whole ordeal. We decided to swap motors. The other setup was a more modern throttle body motor out of a Caprice. We were going that route for a couple other reasons, but ended up selling that motor to a buddy of mine. He needed it more than I did. And we pulled this motor out of another project. This is your more traditional, pre-87 or so small block. Does have a couple of performance things on it. I know it has an RV cam, it has dart heads, roller rockers. Be a little bit more hot rod in the Model A, so we opted to go with this one, sold the other one, use some of that money, buy some performance parts for this. We're gonna go to a triple deuce intake, new gaskets and everything. Gonna go through this, make sure it's all operational, timing chain, new distributor, all that stuff. So getting it put up on the engine stand, gonna get it tore down and see what all it needs. Get her put back together. While I'm doing this, Kyle's gonna be over on the cowl, getting the hole drilled and everything for through the cowl steering, sprint car style steering, some guys call it. We went with a reverse Corvair box, fabricated a stem to come off of it to a big arm. We've built that before, so it was pretty straightforward. Just had to reinforce the firewall on the side of the quarter panel there some to get all that going. But that's what Kyle's going to be working on while we get this on the engine stand and tore apart.
So while Andrew and Steve are working on the motor, I've decided to tackle the steering on it for today. Went in here and made us a 10 gauge side plate and a sandwich plate, I guess you call it, for the firewall. Not a lot of structure in these cars. It's kind of like just an overgrown go-kart really. So didn't want any flex out of the steering box. So we went ahead and plated everything 10 gauge, welded them together, made me a bracket. We just cut the hole in the side of it. I'll get going on the outward steering shaft, then we'll work on our drop mount, and eventually once we put the body back on the chassis, we'll get hooked up to the front knuckle.
We got to take the 6/16 off this so we can...
No, I told you before, man, I don't know anything if it's not in 64ths.
64ths? Well, 36 64ths.
It's 19.
Right here. It's one of the little lines under an inch and a half.
Cut it 1964ths, I'm telling you.
The little line under an inch and a half.
So that's one mark past 6/16,
right.
Yes.
and one mark under 1/2.
Right.
So is that 7/16?
Right.
It's that long right there.
Okay.
Cut it that long. Yeah, you're right.
Perfect. Give me just a
No,
second.
we're splitting frog hairs here on 16ths, and you grabbed the most inaccurate cutting tool in the shop.
No, this is a precision cutting device.
That is a handheld bandsaw you have there.
Yeah. Yeah. I guarantee you this makes a nicer cut than using a cutoff wheel. Cutoff wheel's gonna leave a big old burr right on the inside.
A big O burr? How big is big O?
Big O,
Like,
I
can I
mean,
catch
big
my
enough you
fingernail on it?
cannot thread a bolt into the end of this.
Well, that's why we have flat wheels, man. You just, and you're done.
On an ID.
Sure. You got D-bird whip things, right?
I mean, we could take a bolt in from the other
We
side.
got
push the rotor out,
to
clean it
tap
up,
a die here also.
Sure.
We got taps and dies, man. Go for it. Let's see
See how
this.
crooked this cut is.
Dude, this cut's gonna be
Back of my drink, man.
All right.
Jesus, look, I can slice my finger open on that, man.
What does the outside have to do with anything?
It's a burr still.
Oh, please. I'm talking about the inside.
You bought me lunch is all that was.
No.
Look at how crooked that damn cut is.
Oh, please. That doesn't mean anything.
Just the mating surface of the
Yeah, it's
pivot.
just where everything pivots off of. It's fine.
Like butter.
Zing.
Butter. Never do that with a cutoff wheel.
Will you get out of my way now so I can do some actual fabrication here?
I'm just saying, you know, we clean it up with a...
I got metal to burn, sparks to fly. We can't say that, that's trademarked, I think. Now we're getting going on the brakes. I'm gonna go with a under the floor setup, I guess you'd call it. Dual mass cylinder, non-power. Fabbed up this little bracket, fabbed up the pivot point. We're gonna try to mock everything under the floor and then figure out best we can our rod that has to come up through the floor and dodge everything really. Our feet are in the way, the motor's in the way, the side of the cow kick panel's in the way. There's very little room in this car, so we gotta make it work, but that's the fun of hot rodding. Or so they say.
You can put some spacers in there, some sort of washer.
Yeah, I got to put the 15 washers in there because Andrew's 1964 wasn't exactly
You
1964.
took 8/8 off instead of 6/8.
8/8. But make it work, get her put in, and then it's not much left to do as far as fabrication on this car. Andrew's working on the fuel tank right now. We've got little stuff after this pretty much. We're gonna mount headlights, mount shocks. At some point we're gonna cut the roof off. What little bit of the, I don't know if it's really a roof at this point, just the top of the doors. We're gonna cut like that part off though and put our, what windshield's going on this?
Roadster windshield.
Roadster,
Same,
whatever.
same year. Just going from a sport coupe, closed car windshield to a roadster windshield. Yeah.
What he said. So messing around with the brakes some more today. We ain't got a whole lot of room to make this work. We basically have to go over the frame rail to the outside of the frame to make the pedal on the left-hand side of where your feet go. Not much room where your feet go either. But in order to do that, we got to go over the frame but beneath the floor. So I'm basically going to come off the pivot off of our master cylinders and make this little bracket that kind of comes up and over the frame, and then we'll weld our main pedal to it. This part, of course, will later come through the floor, and that's be the only part you see. This is all kind of working in theory. I'm hoping it goes together and doesn't have a bunch of play and slop in it to where when you push on the brakes, the pedal wants to move around a whole lot. If it does, we might try some refining to it, but not a whole lot. I think we might have a different idea of going through the frame with like a jack shaft, but hopefully it doesn't come to that and this works.
You done yet?
And you got the brakes in it. We sat in it and made hot rod noises.
Cool.
Now you're here, it's time to quit.
That's what I do. What'd you guys get done today?
Brakes, hot rod noises, I just told
That ain't
you.
enough. That ain't enough.
Well,
This is part of my
last
job.
time-
This is what I do.
what did we do last time?
What's the holdup? What is taking so long?
Mitch was here.
Oh shit.
You guys have had all day with 3 people. What have you
We
done?
didn't get here till 1 o'clock.
Yeah, we had lunch.
We had to go out to the job site, take a picture.
Every time I come in this shop, you guys, nobody's working. You're just standing here talking and looking at it.
Because it's quitting time now.
Gas tank's done. Brakes are done.
It smells like blueberries in here now.
All right, so what we're doing, since this is actually not a true roadster here, we need to cut tops of doors off. So marking this off here, where we want to cut, we actually just want to be right here at this line. But the way we're going to do this, the last one that we did, Andrew and I were discussing, the last one we just cut it off, flat piece of metal. Got to look at some photos, don't really like it, so kind of leaving about 3/8 of an inch on this go around is what we're going to do, is weld some quarter rounded, some quarter rod in there. Pencil rod, we'll beat it in, round it in, look good, nice finish when we're done. And this time we're also going to try to save the inner piece to leave it looking factory to make it look like I have a window in. So let's get to cutting. Andrew, get the cut off wheel. It's your door. Cut it. You want a plasma one side and I'll use a cutoff on the other?
Yeah.
You want to get the right curve to it. It's about like that, so about like that. Yeah, I'll do it.
No, I want to hold it. No, I want to hold it.
You need to explain what you're going to be doing today.
Okay. Well, then why are we filming me?